Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Howard on Sports. My name is Howard. Today, you might have noticed that the lighting looks a little odd for this video, and there is a reason for that. Well, think of this as a night game. All my other videos I shot during the day, this one I'm shooting at night. Why? Why am I shooting this at night? Well, it has to do with a certain historical event that took place 36 years ago and one day. August 9th, 1988. And that event was Wrigley Field had its first night game, its first night baseball game. Why? Why did that happen? Think about it, the late 80s was somewhat of, let's say, the modern era. I mean, it's a little pre-internet, but it was close. So I would say the late 80s were getting somewhat modern. So that's weird. Why didn't they have lights until then? Well, it turns out they wanted to put lights in the 40s, but then World War II happened. And all the materials that they were going to use for this project to put lights in Wrigley Field, they ended up donating for the war effort. So no lights, no night games at Wrigley Field. As time went on, many people wanted to have night baseball at Wrigley Field, but many people didn't want it. There was a lot of resistance from local community groups because Wrigley Field is in a residential neighborhood. And a lot of people said, we don't want night baseball here. We don't trust the element. People are going to go to games. They could be drunk. They could be acting out. How is that going to affect our neighborhood? We don't want it, which is understandable. So there was definitely a resistance to it. Now, what happened was in 1984, the Cubs made the playoffs. I didn't look this up. I think they won close to 100 games that year. They were favored in the playoffs that year against the Padres, and I believe they were up 2-0 and then lost 3 in a row, if my memory serves correct. So they kind of choked. They should have really made the World Series against the Tigers, but it didn't work out that way. But anyway, because they did almost make the World Series that year, Major League Baseball decided to let the Cubs know, listen, if you guys make the World Series, you need to play games at night, because at that point they were showing World Series games at night because it had better ratings, especially during the week. And the Cubs were not going to be able to play any games at night, obviously, without the lights. So Major League Baseball sort of forced the Cubs' hand a little bit, and it was like, if you're going to make the World Series, you can't play here because we want the games at night, and that'd be a really bad situation to not be able to play home games in your own stadium. So the Cubs finally gave in, and August 9th, 1988 was the first night game at Wrigley Field. Now, interestingly enough, it was actually supposed to be August 8th, but the game got rained out. So it ended up being August 9th. So if you think about it, you take it for granted, night baseball and football to some extent, but more baseball, especially in the postseason, it's just amazing. The stadium is packed and it's all lit up. Just, kind of as a Yankee fan, I've seen so many postseason games at night on TV, and the stadium is like lit up like a diamond. It's beautiful. I really find it to be a beautiful sight, night baseball. But again, in Wrigley Field, it did not happen until August 9th, 1988. Anyway, that's a little history lesson for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it.